You know that feeling when someone offers a language shortcut and it just sounds, well, a bit too good to be true.
Oh, absolutely.
Reminds me of my uncle years ago convinced blasting opera really loud would make him fluent in Italian.
Huh. How did that work out?
Let's just say he learned to shout, Mamma Mia! Very dramatically. That was about it.
Right.
So whenever a new language hack starts doing the rounds, I get that same feeling, a little skeptical.
Understandable.
And right now, that feeling is definitely buzzing around this thing called shadowing. So let's really dig into it today. What's the actual deal with this technique?
Yeah, it's everywhere, isn't it? If you look at language learning advice online, shadowing pops up constantly, often pitched as this like fast track to fluency.
Exactly. It sounds like I should be, I don't know, hiding behind pillars trying to mimic people.
Yeah.
Pardon me, I just admire your use of notwithstanding.
Heh. Well, maybe not quite like that.
Okay. But seriously, let's unpack it. What is shadowing, really?
So at its core, shadowing is an advanced learning technique. Basically, you listen to some English audio
Right.
and you repeat what you hear, but you do it simultaneously, like you're trying to be a very, very close echo.
Ah, okay. So less like a spy, more like a parrot who's really aiming for uh, perfect pronunciation instead of just a cracker.
That's a great way to put it, yeah. And the key word is simultaneously. You're trying to speak almost exactly with the audio.
Okay.
Not just copying the words, but also mimicking the speaker's intonation, their rhythm, the stress patterns, all of it.
Speaking at the same time.
Hmm.
My brain just did a little wobble thinking about that. Now, do I need to, understand every single word they're saying before I try echoing?
That's a really common question.
Because sometimes I listen to things and, honestly, I'm mostly just nodding along, hoping I look like I get it.
Right. Well, having some understanding definitely helps, especially later on. But
Yeah.
it's not absolutely essential right at the beginning.
Okay.
Initially, the main focus is more on just absorbing the sounds, the flow, kind of
Yeah.
the music of the language. Your understanding often builds up over time as you get used to those patterns.
Gotcha. So it's not some kind of instant fluency download,
Yeah.
but the buzz around it is massive. People talk it up like it's the secret key.
Yeah, the hype is real.
So is it a genuinely useful technique? Does it have real benefits, or is it just another language learning fad that'll fade away?
Well, fad might be a little harsh. It's definitely not a magic pill there.
The classic, it depends.
It really does. Its effectiveness boils down to how you actually do it.
Okay, all right. Lay out the potential upsides for me then. If I start shadowing, say, this conversation right now on my commute, what could I realistically expect to improve, besides maybe weirding out the person next to me?
Okay, well, there are some pretty concrete benefits. First off, pronunciation and accent reduction. That's a big one.
How so?
By actively trying to copy native speakers, you're literally training your mouth muscles, your facial muscles, to make English sounds more accurately. You start noticing and making these little subtle sounds you might otherwise miss.
Okay, muscle training for the mouth. Makes sense.
Second, it's fantastic for getting better rhythm and intonation. English has this distinct musicality, right? The ups and downs, the stress on words.
Yeah, definitely.
Shadowing helps you internalize that so you don't sound so, flat or robotic. Third, it really sharpens your listening skills.
Because you're focused so intensely.
Exactly. You have to listen with incredible focus to shadow well. That naturally makes you better at understanding spoken English overall.
Right.
And finally, confidence. Just the act of making the sounds, even echoing, builds familiarity. And as you hear yourself sounding, well, a bit more natural, it's positive reinforcement. Makes you feel better about speaking later.
Okay, pronunciation, rhythm, listening, confidence. Those all sound pretty compelling, but what are the downsides? Where does it go wrong? What are the pitfalls?
Oh, there are definitely potential pitfalls. For one, choosing the wrong material.
Like what?
Well, if you shadow someone with a really strong regional accent, or maybe someone who doesn't speak very clearly, you could end up mimicking habits that aren't actually helpful.
Ah, okay. Pick your echo carefully.
Right. Another issue is what you could call mindless mimicry. Just repeating sounds without focusing on the meaning or the intonation changes.
Yeah.
You could end up sounding like a well-pronounced robot.
Technically right, but totally unnatural. Got it.
Yeah. Then there's just plain frustration. If you start with audio that's way too fast or too complex, it's easy to get discouraged and just, give up.
Mm-hmm.
And lastly, feedback. Or rather, the lack of it. Because you're focused on speaking with the audio, you might not realize you're making mistakes and just keep reinforcing them.
So I could end up sounding like one of those dramatic movie trailer guys. In a world where I need a latte.
Exactly. The context of what you're shadowing is super important.
This sounds like we're getting into the shadowing horror stories part. Any memorable examples of this going a bit sideways?
Well, I remember one student, really enthusiastic, shadowed the host of a gardening show. Very animated speaker.
Okay.
His pronunciation got better, definitely. But he started using this super cheerful, almost sing-songy voice when discussing, like, very serious technical reports at work.
Oh, no. And these TPS reports are looking lovely today.
Pretty much. His colleagues were quite confused.
I can imagine. I think I did something similar once. Tried shadowing a really fast sports commentator. For about a week, everything I said sounded like it was on fast forward.
And I had another student. He got obsessed with this British gangster movie, shadowed it constantly.
Uh-oh.
He got really good at the Cockney accent, the slang, but then he started using it in, like, formal business meetings. Highly inappropriate.
Picture it. Right then, Governor, let's have a butcher's at these spreadsheets, eh? In the boardroom. Yikes.
Exactly. But hey, it's not all cautionary tales. There are triumphs, too.
Good, let's hear one.
I had this very shy student, really lacked confident speaking. She started shadowing children's audiobooks.
Simple language, clear pace.
Yes, exactly. Clear narration, manageable pace, expressive voices. And over time, her pronunciation noticeably improved, sure, but the biggest change was her confidence. She just blossomed, started talking more in class, seemed way more comfortable. She actually said it felt like she could finally wear the language.
Wear the language. I love that. That's a fantastic way to put it.
Isn't it?
So how do we avoid being the accidental gardening show host or gangster mimic and instead become confident language wearers? What are your top tips for doing this effectively, not robotically?
Okay, several key things. First, and this is crucial, choose your material wisely.
Right. We talked about accents. What else?
Pick topics you actually find interesting. It keeps you engaged. Opt for speakers with clear, fairly standard accents, especially at the start.
Makes sense.
Make sure the level fits. Not too fast, not too complex linguistically. Good sources, maybe news reporters, podcast hosts, like the one we're using as a base. Audiobook narrators are often great. Even some well-made cartoons. And if you can get a transcript, bonus. That really helps.
Yeah, so probably hold off on shadowing, like auctioneers or beatboxers initially.
Yeah, maybe save those for level 100.
Got it. What else?
Second, focus on the music, not just the words. Pay really close attention to the intonation, the rise and fall, the stress which syllables and words get emphasis, the rhythm.
The rhythm. English is stress timed, right?
Exactly. Feel that underlying beat. Try to capture the melody. Avoid just repeating everything in a flat monotone.
So not just, I went to the store, but capturing the natural, I went to the store. Highlighting the important bits.
Precisely. And actually exaggerating the intonation a little bit when you first start, that can really help lock it in.
Okay, exaggerate the melody. Tip number 3.
This is the one people often dislike, but it's so effective. Record yourself shadowing.
Oof. The dreaded self-recording.
I know. It can feel awkward. But listening back is the best way to hear the differences between you and the original, things you just don't notice while you're speaking. It's like your own personal feedback loop.
It does feel like looking in a mirror you weren't quite ready for sometimes. But yeah, I see the value. Get that objective listen.
Absolutely. Lean into the cringe. It's part of learning. And one final bonus tip. Start small, be consistent.
The marathon, not a sprint idea.
Exactly. Don't try to shatter for like an hour straight, especially when you're new. Short bursts, maybe 5 or 10 minutes, done regularly. Much, much better than one massive session once a week.
Okay, excellent. Really practical stuff. Choose wisely, listen for the music, brave the recording, keep it short and steady.
That's the gist. Shadowing is a powerful tool. But like any tool, you get the best results when you use it thoughtfully, with intention.
So the bottom line seems to be, it's not a scam, not at all.
Yeah.
But it's definitely not a magic wand for fluency either. It's a technique. Requires mindful practice. Works best alongside other learning activities. Any final words of wisdom or encouragement for listeners thinking about trying this?
Just experiment. Find stuff that you genuinely connect with, topics you like. Try different speakers, different speeds. See what feels right for your way of learning. And remember, language learning should be, engaging, hopefully enjoyable.
Couldn't agree more. Okay, so for you listening, here's a little challenge, a bit of homework if you like.
Ooh, homework.
Find a short audio clip, maybe just 1 minute. Clear English could be a YouTuber you like, a bit of a news report, maybe even a cartoon character. Try shadowing it for just that minute.
Yeah, give it a go.
No pressure for perfection at all. Just try it, see how it feels. Dip your toe in the shadowing water.
And let us know how it goes. Seriously. Share your experiences. Have you tried it before? Got any funny stories like ours, or maybe a great resource you found? We'd genuinely love to hear about it.
Absolutely. A huge thank you for shedding so much light on shadowing today and giving such great practical advice.
It was my pleasure. Really enjoyed the chat.
And thank you all for tuning into this deep dive. If you found this useful, maybe consider liking or subscribing so you don't miss our next linguistic adventure.
Yes, stick around.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and maybe try not to sound too much like a confused robot or a dramatic movie trailer when you're just asking for directions. Bye for now.
Bye, everyone.